in the podcast, but we are.
Nah. You know what? I don't want to bring this up because it's family shit.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't think that's a good idea.
Yeah. Okay. Hello, everyone. Good.
We ain't starting yet.
I know. Good morning.
It's live. It doesn't mean yeah.
We are live. We're not starting. As a matter of fact, let me get these links out.
Okay.
I won't mention on the show, but
you are
mentioning it on the show because we're live.
Because we're live, yeah.
No, I know. I mean, we won't mention it in the recording. I watched all of Who Killed Captain Alex.
Okay, I'm gonna retweet that. Okay, that looks like it's where it needs to be.
You didn't hear me.
Yeah, I heard you. I just don't have no comment about it.
All right. No, all I'm saying is now I'm really inspired to. I want to make my own damn anime.
Okay, I
Black
got my
hookers.
Second, we get the anime.
And humongous people getting eaten by even more humongous people.
Listen, the people that made that had literally the American equivalent of $200.
Hey.
All right.
$200, YouTube.
The guy had to build his PC.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and for $200, you too could buy a giant fucking bunch of Crave cases from White Castle.
Oh.
Anyway, okay, we're doing some last minute sort of stuff here.
Yes, indeed.
For those who are tuning in before the actual show begins, pre-game show.
NTR Radio pregame.
Pre-game, yes, you know, just like the sports, you were watching before, right?
Oh, okay. Two things. Let me go into the chat. Chat time.
Yes, indeed.
Get out of there. God damn it. Quit that.
She's lost control. I got that damn song from the movie in my head. Thanks, movie. Kissed by a Rose. That damn song in my head.
I love that song.
Thanks, movie. They use a pan flute version of that song.
Oh, I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah, you should watch it. It's free on YouTube.
Anyhow,
why can't I see it in She's Lost Control? Your chat.
It's not in She's Lost Control. It's on ntrradio.net.
Okay, NTR.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what the hell? That's not even the right place.
That's what happens when you're on the wrong website.
No. He was on a Joy Division fan site.
You know how Goblin Slayer was the 15-minute controversy of last season?
Yep.
Yeah. Guess what? That now there's a new one.
Shield Hero.
Shield Hero.
Yeah.
That's been the 15-minute controversy for the last 2 weeks.
I don't even know what the issue is. Still trying to figure.
It's.
What is it?
We'll talk about this when we get going because
we can talk about this when we get going because this could make for good radio.
I don't know what the issue is.
We'll tell you.
Okay, here I am, and there was another thing. I know. Wikipedia.
Actually, I think I know where the notebook is. Stand by.
Choose from a rose.
What about Wikipedia?
Yeah, list of 80s anime.
Oh yeah. The only problem with that is that while the info is useful, it's not formatted all that well.
No, it's a pain in the ass to find.
I mean,
I got you there.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm not even going to bother messing with any of that. Certainly, I'm not on this first segment.
All right.
Well, we're not doing anything related to that.
Mm-hmm. No, okay. But I'm setting myself up.
I would do that, but it'd just get in the way right now.
Okay.
Anubis seems to have disappeared. Yes, I can see that he's actually digging around for the notebook or whatever.
Okay. Oh, here it is. Years in anime. That's how they do it. Yeah, that's right. And we're going to start off with 1985.
Yeah.
I regret to inform you I was incorrect, and I'm back to the status quo of not knowing where the fuck this notebook is. So I'm going to use.
Why do you need this notebook? What do you need it for?
I write down the times.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Rather than that, you should probably just get one of those like legal pads.
Okay.
They're cheap. I mean,
let's get this show on the road.
Just
okay. That's a yeah.
All right, let's do this.
Okay, Nintendo, we're gonna do this.
Nintendo in 3, 2, 1. Happy New Year! I'm Anime Time Enforcer Anubis. I'm Anime Time Enforcer Anubis. Don't even ask me what I was trying to say because I have no idea at this point. Go ahead.
You think we should just restart that?
No, we're already recording. Let's go.
I'm K-Gods.
And I'm VZ Mark II on a new headset. On a new headset.
Correction, I'm Anime K-Gods.
And I'm Anime VZ Mark II.
I think the Happy New Year thing threw me off. Anyway, it's 2019.
Yeah. Which means
that's not the drop-in I was looking for.
Also the same.
We made it.
Also the same year in Akira.
Yeah.
Which means we're not going to make it.
Yeah. Very much so. This will end up being a point later.
Congratulations, ladies and gentlemen. It's the last year.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah. So we're done.
Well, hang on. What year is it now in the post-Apate timeline? Because remember,
isn't it
Apate, and then there was a time after Apate.
Well, Apate was 2012.
Yeah, so it's 7.
I'll make it. Well,
AU7.
Wouldn't it technically be 0006 because Apate came out in what was it, the spring?
Oh yeah, okay. It still hasn't made the change over yet.
It's still 006. We haven't transitioned to post-Apate world 007 yet.
Okay. PU. Post-Apate. PU.
Yeah. Or you could just that could just be a San Franciscan thing too.
Yeah. Do we have a post? What was it? What's the other one? C3 Boo.
No, because that one that didn't spawn because the whole thing with the post-Apate world was some really stupid person, some really dumb anime critic said completely overreacted to Apate, by the way. Said one thing's for certain. There is a world before Apate, and then there's a world after Apate, which is where we are now. Which is a ridiculous thing to say.
That could be the weirdest concept. Anime. Yeah, the weirdest premise for an anime. And it's like, this has been far weirder.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, how is everybody? It's the new year.
Good. Okay.
None of us are dead yet, so that's good.
Hey, like I said, we made it.
Yeah. I mean, we won't make it till the next one, apparently, but
yeah, of course. This is the last year.
As long as Neo Akiba doesn't explode yet.
Yes. Anyway, I'll go ahead and throw out some of my stuff first here.
Sure.
I finished up watching the 3 shows I'd selected from last season, which were Goblin Slayer, Gridoman, and Senran Kagura, Shinobi Masters. And
2 of those I was watching.
So I'll go ahead and do a quick rundown. Goblin Slayer was really good. Was really fun. And there's the promise of more of it because, well, they only really covered the first light novel, I believe, with it. I'd have to look to double check, but I think that was it. It was a big controversy. It shouldn't have been, but it was. It's enjoyable.
Darkest anime ever. And I'm like,
you have to be a noob to believe that.
You're new here, right?
Wait till we get to the show topic.
Yeah.
We're gonna go midnight black in terms of dark for some of these.
For sure. But that's just, I mean, they have to be really new because even Berserk and things like that are way worse. Anyway, moving along, you had Gridleman, which was just tons of fun. It was, a lot of people said it didn't make sense, and it's like, okay, this tells me you didn't ever watch OVAs. Because, first off, they don't need to explain every little thing to you.
That's something that I always see with like Western critics is like, what isn't, that it has to explain every little single detail. Well,
the thing is the way they operate, and this was definitely true, and this will come up a little later, is you're given the basic premise, and it's just supposed to be cool in a way that you just go with it.
Yeah.
That literally is how it operates. They're not going to go into specifics or anything like that because it's not necessary. It's really not.
My main criticism is that it's actually a show I would have liked it to be a double core, or however you say that. Because, again, I think just that type of show with the monster could have benefited from a little longer length, and they would have had the time to do. Okay, because in Gridman they had like two, I don't know, combinations.
Yeah. You had like the Ultra Combine and.
Yeah, but there was also the, like, with the 3 vehicles.
Right.
But then there was the other vehicle that turned into a dinosaur that also turned into armor. And I would have loved to seen a new version of that.
Right. And that's the thing about the show is if you went into it expecting it to be hard sci-fi, first off, you're stupid.
No.
But it's true. First off, you were stupid because the origin wasn't hard sci-fi.
I will say I love the character designs. The character designs were really nice.
Yeah, they had their charms, and how to word this? They had sort of that slightly angular sort of vibe that Trigger does in general.
That, but I also love the fact that they were just inspired by like using Transformers for.
Well, yeah, very very obviously so, and clearly they were fans of like. What the fuck, Beast King Golion and
a whole bunch of old robot shows, basically.
Right, like you could just look at it and see tons of things.
Oh, Masami Obari commented on his Twitter.
Oh boy,
because
that should be fun.
They kind of used the pose with the sword that's like the quarter angle. I think it's
okay,
where it's like. You've seen it in everything from various. You even see it in Gundam Seed.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Where they have it sort of arced up.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, it's at the
Anyway, he commented on like them using like a lot of Obari's design. It's like he goes, "Isn't this a bit much?"
So that was fun. The ending is really meta in a really silly way.
Yeah.
I got a kick out of it. But anyway, and then of course you had the second season of Senran Kagura, Shinobi Masters.
I love the use of the original Gridman theme.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. Okay. So yeah, Senran Kagura.
It reflects the games a lot more, from what I was told. Like the way it kind of gets all dark.
Yeah, I really preferred the original anime far more.
I don't know about that, but it did at times feel like it was somewhat out of place. Because when I think of Senran Kagura, I don't really think of stuff that reminds me of like Ninja Scroll or anything like that, or any kind of dark sort of gritty. And when those elements started to kind of poke in a little bit. It just felt like, not that they were trying too hard, but it felt almost out of place.
Mm.
That's not to say it wasn't fun to watch, because it was. But I could see where that would have been a turnoff for some people, because let's be real here. The real reason that all of us were watching this has nothing to do with, any kind of plot twists or stuff like that. Not really. Most of us were watching for a very simple, obvious, plot-based reason.
3 words.
Yeah. Anyway, it was fun. I hope they don't stop making them, though.
Nah, I wouldn't mind. It would be amusing if they decide to do a movie. Anime movie, not live action movie, obviously.
Right.
What they really need to do is just to do sort of what like Full Metal Panic did with the Fumofu thing, and just make a pure comedy sort of beach house sort of thing.
That I like. That could work.
Yeah, it would totally work. It fits with the whole sort of non-serious element of it. I think that would work a lot better. Some people will disagree, but I enjoyed all 3 of them. Goblin Slayer wins out simply for the fact that it was enjoyable from beginning to end with no real. Because even when it was slow, I still liked it.
So there's 2 things I want to talk about that I watched, not related to the show topic. The first thing is, so I finally saw A Silent Voice.
Don't you mean you heard it?
That is the 2016 Kiwani movie.
Right.
It's cute. It's a good movie. Not my favorite of Kiwani, but definitely worth checking out. A cute little romance thing. Main character's a little bastard in the beginning. But no, you'll see the main male character. But decidedly so. That's so on purpose, so that way he can like redeem himself in the rest of the movie. The other thing I watched is one thing from this season already. Not too much of a surprise based on my particular tastes. This is called translates as "How clumsy are you, Miss Ueno?" I think that's how you say it.
Okay.
It's actually a short format show. It's like 12 minutes an episode.
All right.
It's okay so far. So the basic premise is this girl's like, they're all junior high school characters. She's like a genius girl. But she's trying to get the attention of this like boy that she likes. And here's the thing. This might be the most thirstiest girl ever in anime. And the main male character, might be the most dense male character ever.
I don't know about that. I've seen some pretty fucking black hole level density characters.
This is pretty there. Like, just like how dense. It's like literally she wants to show you her panties to you. How dense are you? And
well, if she's so smart, couldn't she figure out clever ways to do that?
Well, there was another. Well, because of what she is, she has it where you look up and it's like basically space. There's literal space with like galaxies and stars.
Wow! Like I'm imagining that galaxy brain joke going to another level now.
The first segment has it where she purified her pee, and she wanted him to drink it.
I can already see this.
Waterworld.
And he didn't want to do it at all, even though it was like clean. It was based on.
I'm sorry. I'm imagining ANN having a complete apoplectic shock over that.
Yeah, so it has promise. It could be, so far it seems in the middle. Could be funnier, but based on like the bizarre situations, it has potential. Sentai Filmworks licensed it, by the way.
Hey.
So,
good times.
And that's it. As far as off topic.
So Anubis, have you watched anything?
I ain't watched shit.
Okay. Then should we move along or? Oh wait, we should probably actually do the thing.
Yeah, the thing. So here's the thing. You get yourself, if you're listening live, to ntrradio.net. You click on the chat link, give yourself a nickname, hit the button, and join us in the IRC channel. Alternatively, take your favorite IRC channel, connect to irc.ryzen.net, and join us in the pound or hash SLC media channel. In addition, you can get at us on Twitter at TAnubis, at VCMK2, at immortal_KGods, at NTR_radio. And as always, the email address to get involved with the show is ntrradio@gmail.com. Let's news.
Let's news.
Working to restore power.
So, there was a particular article that hit Anime News Network over the interim. And if you try and go to that URL now, you will get this message. And that's the link to that's going in the ARC right now. Advertorial removed January 3rd, 2019. The advertorial previously posted at this URL promoted objectionable content that is not consistent with the values of ANN's editorial team, management, or ownership. As such, the article has been removed from the website and our advertorial process is being updated to better catch these sorts of ads before they reach our readers. For transparency purposes, the original advertorial remains visible in the changelog below. ANN apologizes for this incident and any offense it may have caused, spelled C-A-U-S-E, not caused, past tense, to our readers.
See, it was the NRA. I knew it.
Of course. So, if you go to that changelog and pull up the article that was originally there, which is going up in the IRC right now, we'll see this. And clearly marked, advertorial. The box office hit movie The Laws of the Universe Part 1 is more than just a sci-fi anime adventure. Now, just going off of the title, it sounds like that's, okay, it's your average advertorial. We know ANN's hurting for money, so someone's paying them to write an article about this sci-fi anime, which is fair. Which is fair. Outlets do that all the time. But what's a problem for a lot of people is what exactly the Laws of the Universe Part 1 is. The Laws of the Universe Part 1 is an anime movie that was basically commissioned to 11 Arts, the studio, if I'm correct on that. They got commissioned to make an anime movie for a cult.
One that claims over something like 10 million members. Supposedly.
It's a Happy Science one, right?
Yes,
that's what they claim. I don't know if those claims are valid.
Membership 11 million claimed.
Yeah, okay, 11 million. My bad.
And people saw basically the moment this came up, this article got put up, people saw through it immediately and hit up the forums, and there's basically not a single positive response in this forum thread.
I actually didn't look at the forums.
Neither did I.
I absolutely looked at the forums because here's the thing about ANN. For quite a while they've had a well-earned reputation. Not a very good reputation, but a well-earned bad reputation. And pretty recently, they've started really outdoing themselves as far as earning a bad reputation. And it's gone so far as now even people who actually, the 6 people who still actually use ANN are getting mad at them about that. Because they're constantly stepping over the line. They stepped over the line with the otaku coin thing. They stepped over the line with a couple more things. They stepped the line with this, definitely.
Although I think the funniest element of that was sort of the social media presence about it.
But did they know that? But did they have an idea that this was funded by a cult, or they just
should know? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if they did know. If they didn't know, then that's actually even worse, because then they're not doing their job as a news outlet. You know, it's the people who are supposed to investigate and tell people what the real deal is, which, quite frankly, they haven't been in that business for years, but that's what they're supposed to be doing. So it would stand to reason that they should know who bankrolled this anime and why this anime is all set, and why, and they should and even if they don't know that, like, just sight unseen, they should have done the due diligence of investigating. Do the people behind this show stand for what we stand for as an organization, insofar as ANN goes, insofar as ANN stands for anything?
Well, to be fair, if you look at what a lot of studios stand for, that would probably put them out of business.
Well, realistically, when you talk about anime studios, I don't think they can really afford to stand for anything, because that would mean denying work, and I don't know why they do that.
Well, you know how
But
much
actually,
they complain about.
that actually does bring me to the next point on this. Is there, like you mentioned, there was some interesting social media presence going on about this, and executive editor Zach Birchie in particular started clapping back at people, and this was after he disavowed, said, "Oh, I had nothing to do with that. That wasn't my department," which is fair. And
Which I'm sure it isn't, but
but then because people were trying to hold ANN accountable, he started clapping back, saying, going on about how people should be mad at 11 Arts for even making the thing, which is fair. If you want to be mad at 11 Arts for making an anime that people paid them to make.
I was just going to say,
fine.
what? You get mad at people for taking commission?
Well, it's that people think that, oh, you shouldn't associate with.
You shouldn't work on stuff that you
shouldn't-
don't believe in or something.
Well, you shouldn't make things for bad people.
Yeah. So basically, they basically disbar Disney.
That's so. And part of my point with that is, like, okay, sure, you can have that unreasonable expectation, but be consistent with it, which is why when the whole Shield Hero thing came up not too long ago, I was like, hey, if you're mad about Shield Hero, unsubscribe from Crunchyroll, because they helped fund it. They used your sub money to fund an evil cartoon, so you should unsubscribe from them. So that's fair. If people want to be mad at 11 Arts for making the show, that's fair. That's just
Oh, so they funded this movie?
No, 11 Arts didn't fund.
No, they didn't fund it. They were contracted out to make it.
Yes, they were hired to make this movie by.
No, I'm saying like Crunchyroll. And then
No.
Crunchy. No, that's a different issue.
Oh no. Okay.
So.
Good. All right.
So he's saying, okay, be mad at 11 Arts, sure, and that's 100% fair if people want to be mad at them, but we should also be mad at ANN for basically advertising this thing without doing the due diligence, or potentially with doing the due diligence but being too hurting for money to really stand up for their own principles that they claim to stand for, instead of doing what they're supposed to do given their stance. But no, he continued on and went on to say it's it's weird how the people railing so heavily against 11 Arts the people railing so heavily against ANN for talking about this movie are the same people who like this and that cute moe show that was also made by 11 Arts.
This is basically making red herrings here.
Well, I find it very curious how he somehow managed to take this paradigm. ANN shouldn't be reporting on movies made by cults. Well, no. It's not. That's not even it. ANN shouldn't be paid to report positively on movies made by cults. That's a reasonable better paradigm. I'm
looking at 11 Arts right now to see what they even made.
I don't know how he took that and somehow tumbled it around into moe fans are bad.
I mean, that's one of those things where you say it and then you do everything you can to justify it.
All right. 11 Arts is actually based in Los Angeles. That's interesting. It's weird.
Everything about this is actually pretty weird.
What did they even? Okay, so they're mostly a distributor. Okay, so that's mostly what they're just mostly a distributor for anime movies. I see, Monica. I see Silent Voice. The Girls in Panzer, the film. But it just says theatrical distribution. The distribution for the theatrical release of these movies here. That's what they seem to serve as.
Well, if that's the case, then he wasn't even right on the. He wasn't even correct on where people's anger should be aimed. Or realistically, no, he's correct on where people's anger should be aimed if they're mad about the show, if they're mad about this thing even existing. But he's the link he had between ANN shouldn't be paid to report positively on anime made by a cult and moe fans are bad. That link is broken. Got a 404 on that.
What moe thing is even talking about? Liz and the Bluebird, which is the side movie for Sound. Is that what he's talking about?
I think that was mentioned, and a Silent Voice was also mentioned.
Yeah.
well, in any case, like I said, the whole thing's actually pretty strange if you really break it down.
It's very, very bizarre. And again, to me, it's indicative of just how dire straits ANN seems to be in. Because, like, under what other circumstance would you sign off on that sort of thing? Unless their organization's leadership is just in a complete shambles.
Playing musical chairs on the Titanic.
Which might also be the case, quite frankly. But as far as I know, Chris McDonald is still in charge, for better or worse. Zach Berchi is still in charge of their editorial department, for better or worse. I don't know who does their advertising, but if they have the power to sign off by themselves on an advertorial, that's dangerous, quite frankly.
Well, did they still keep the thing that My Tool wrote about anime funded by cults?
I think that's still up. Matter of fact, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I was looking at their Twitter the day that the advertorial was posted, and I think they actually linked to that article, like not long after that the whole backlash from this advertorial started.
And the best thing is, the complaining didn't even seem to be completely that it was a cult. It was right-wing cult.
Like
it's not just that it's a cult. It's a right-wing cult.
Is this the thing?
As if it was a left-wing cult, it would be okay.
Of course.
Is this where during this week Zach then brought out after how many 5 years he brings up C3 Boo again?
Yes.
Well, that was something different. Well, no,
But it ties into the bullshit though.
It was so. I don't know why Zach is engaging with these people. If I was in his position, I wouldn't. But if I was in,
because he does that,
I'd probably
as
do a
proven.
better job. But that said, he was engaging with some rando on Twitter who brought up that C3 Boo thing, and it's like,
dude, mute your mic, dude.
And he was like,
I should.
Do I don't know, was I wrong talking about that? Maybe, but
the fact that it pisses off right wingers like you,
yeah, exactly.
There's some bullshit like that. And it's like no real, as far as I could tell, no actual evidence this person was right wing per se.
Of course not. No, people thought I was right wing.
How about this? How is that anime right wing? How is C3 Boo right wing? Other than just about guns?
Because guns and because guns are bad, man.
That's it, VZ. Yeah. It's all because it's well. It's not even about guns. It's about airsoft.
Well, yeah, but they made it about that because of a recent shooting that happened here.
Yeah. It's like,
as if Japan has to give a shit about there being a shooting over here.
He wrote that in his review. Like, Sandy Hook just happened. Shouldn't they be more sensitive?
I wonder if these people know. I wonder if these people know Japan invented airsoft. Like it's bigger over there than it is over here, I believe.
I doubt it. These are the same people that always think something is fucking an AR-15 when it isn't. I mean, you know what I mean? They'll always be like, "Oh, that's an AR-15." No, it isn't. Or that's a this or that. They always do that. People that don't actually know firearms, they always get them on there.
Yeah, one of my pet peeves is actually people getting firearms completely wrong, like completely misidentifying firearms.
Mm-hmm.
To where like you'll call an M4 an MP5, two things that really cannot possibly be more different. So there's that. But there's also the fact that, okay, it's very clear, and I think we talked about this on the last episode. Okay, it's very clear ANN has a political agenda, and
so transparently so.
It's very transparent. That
might as well be see-through.
It's quickly coming to bite them in the ass. Because it's running up against the fact that they're hurting for money.
Well, at some point they've either I don't even know how to properly phrase this. Either they're ignoring or just don't look at it this way. But at some point they should realize they're still a business.
Well, the problem is you can tell that they're so, what's that word, insular, that
that's not the word I would use to describe them.
No, but they only think that everyone else thinks like them, and if they don't,
well, that just means they're stupid.
Well, yeah, well, obviously, but
here's the thing about ANN and their business practices as far as they go.
They fundamentally, a lot of the people in their upper echelon think capitalism and business is bad by default. I mean, many of them have made conjectured bad arguments about that. So it's like, do you really think people who think business is like some sort of necessary evil are going to be good at it?
Well, beyond even before we get to that paradigm, here's the real. So they go in and engage in this. Previously, it was less transparent than it was now. Their political leaning. So they go in and engage with this political leaning, getting slowly ramping that up. But they're also hemorrhaging money. So at a certain point, they have to start getting revenue.
Get woke, get broke.
As they ramp the political rhetoric up, they alienate more and more people.
Get woke, get broke.
So they can't, and it's not even get woke, get broke. It's get political at all, get broke. Because
like the fact that I know everybody's leaning politically on that site is bad. Like that shouldn't even be a thing.
It's quite frankly, it's less the people, it's the entire organization.
Well, they all operate on that idea, like it's fine if you know where we stand, yada yada yada. But the thing is, good.
That would be cool in the gang if they were making money, but they're not because they're so political and they're getting more and more political that they're alienating parts of their user base that previously would have supported them.
Which is funny because then they sit there and beg you like support the industry. Then the artists in Japan will get paid, which is not gonna ever happen.
I don't think. I am generous enough to Anime News Network to not think they're stupid enough to try and do that angle.
I've seen it before.
And is supporting the industry.
Dude, I've seen it before where they've kind of been like,
you're gonna have to find this for me.
What? That they kind of make it about
that they equate supporting them to supporting the industry.
Well, no, that they not that, but that they go out of their way to tell you, hey, you should support the industry, and that's, piracy is bad because
that's not what he's talking about.
That's not what I'm talking about. Because I'm cool in the gang with that, even though supporting the industry is a meme anyway, and is used to harangue people into. It's used to usually used to harangue people into supporting a particular service, but that's beside the point. My point is, they're consistently alienating people who previously would have supported them, and you could see this back when they had the whole forum rules thing, and Anyfem called them out. So how many allies does ANN have anymore?
Well, which is kind of the point. Most places I know that provide any kind of services like that
don't go out of their way to alienate people.
Well, no, that's not what I was going to say. But I mean, that's a given. That's a given, though. No, most of them don't overly try to beat your head over with their political leanings either.
Yeah, going out of your way to alienate people.
Right. I mean, put it this way.
Listen, here's a while ago, we did the Why Otaku Have No Political Allies episode.
Mm-hmm.
And I talked about this in that episode. There's no reason to affiliate politically at all. Unless you're getting paid substantially off of that, there's no reason to affiliate politically. Because the people who like you for that don't really like you. And the people who hate you for that really do hate you. You only make enemies. You don't make any real friends doing that. You don't make any real allies doing that. You don't make any lasting customers doing that. Make lasting customers providing quality service, making a quality product, doing whatever you do. And ANN hasn't been in the business of doing that for years. That's why they're failing. They're failing because they suck, and because they alienate they've been alienating their core fan base for the past like half decade or more.
I mean, I don't disagree with any of that. I think the biggest deal with that is, I mean, I can't speak for them, but just from an outside observation, it seems like they don't view this as necessarily them providing a service so much as they think they're trying to make the anime community a better place or some shit.
Sure,
they don't look like, they're not looking at it in terms of business practices. They're looking at it in terms of like social engineering or some bullshit.
Well, I fucking hope someone saves them.
I don't.
I hope for their sake someone comes through with a lot of money, and a whole lot of money, not so much brain power. because that's what would be necessary to want to save ANN.
Yeah, but who would even have that much capital? And not the Japanese side, because they couldn't give two shits about.
Well, VZ, it's who has that much capital and wants to spend it on Anime News Network. Especially given ANN's reputation, especially given the fact that they've been doing real bad with money for the past however long. Especially given the fact that they're so political, they're alienating people who previously would have supported them. Listen, if I was had a lot of money and was stupid and wanted to support one of these highly political anime outlets, I'd support AnyFem. They've at least been heavily transparent from the beginning on their leaning, and they've demonstrated that people support them, where they had that Indiegogo not too long ago, which succeeded. So they demonstrated support. Listen, if I'm a really rich, stupid person, I don't want to support political anime people for who knows why. I'll give my money to AniFem, not ANN.
I think that'll probably be our lead off to the break here.
We're up against the break here. Keep it right here on NTR Radio.
Ugh. Is it just me, or is this episode just kind of a jumble so far?
I think it's actually been pretty focused.
Yeah.
See, it comes across the other way to me thus far. Simple, I guess, because of the way it started off. Just,
well, yeah, we fucking bungled the opening,
which
is fine.
It happens. It happens.
Like I said, the Happy New Year thing threw me off.
Yeah.
I'll be right back.
Me too.
I'm going to use this time to get something to drink. I'll be back.
Okay. Good. Everyone back? Because it's just me. Hello in Idleland.
I am in fact here.
Okay. Idleland. Yeah, so okay. Dirty Pair. Shit, what's the name of that show? April, September. Is this from a Sonic game?
No. This is from it's an artist called Nani Dato.
Mm. What month did Zeta Gundam come out? Oh, okay, March 2nd.
I'm back.
Welcome back.
Yeah, we're not. Did you explain to him that we're not actually doing it that way?
Yeah, it doesn't matter what month it came out.
No, we're not doing that.
Just the year.
Oh, I know. I'm just curious.
Yeah, we're not doing it like in order or anything.
No. I was just curious.
Okay. I'm ready when everybody else is.
Yep.
Give me 1 second.
Right here. Okay.
We do TV, movie, and OVA.
Yeah, that's the order.
Okay.
And I got a few porn
That
things
back
here
on.
too. Or a few
Cool.
hentais.
Well, yeah, we're not gonna skip
Naturally.
those. That was never the idea to skip that.
Oh no. Unlike A&N, we actually include hentai in our.
Well, yeah. Well, there's a lot of famous people that worked on plenty of it,
Yeah.
and so forth.
And let's get it started.
Whenever you're ready.
In 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to NTR Radio.
Gotta get back in time.
We are getting back in time. In
Yes.
continuation with our History of Anime series, we're talking anime from 1985
Five.
to
1985.
1989.
Same year as Back to the Future.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's why I made that joke.
we're going back to the future, to the past.
Yeah, Back to the Future to the past.
We're going forward back. We're looking forward back.
Wasn't that something that fucking like Dan Quayle or something said?
Well, that was something we said.
Oh yeah, you're right. That is, but he said something like that though. That's I thought what we were referencing to begin with.
No,
No,
that
is that
was
the
me
thing
fucking
the
up what I was saying.
Is that the thing the Simpsons made? The joke, we must go forwards, not backwards.
No,
Upwards.
that was looking forward back was purely me not knowing how to speak.
Anyway,
Yeah, okay.
since we'll be covering 85 to 89,
Yes.
there's a couple of historical events that are important here. I'm just going to throw them out real quick. You'll see how they tie in. November 20th, 1985, Microsoft introduces Windows.
Yeah.
Now, see, that's important because everybody listening to this, minus VZ,
You see my face right now, like
is probably on a PC. And using using Windows or Linux or something. But anyway, it's important.
Yeah, you might be on like an Android device or an iPhone or something like that. There's actually a pretty good chance that people are using those kinds of devices.
Some sort of Microsoft technology or something that's related to Windows.
Well, what I'm saying is there's actually a reasonable chance that a great number of people aren't using Windows or anything like that. They might be on Android. They might be using a fucking PSP or some shit to listen to the podcast. We don't know.
So if you want to tell us about how you're watching or listening to the show, send us an email. No.
Yeah, ntrradio@gmail.com.
Okay. Now the second one is April 26th, 1986. Now why is this important? Because we've actually referenced this before. This was the year of Chernobyl.
Yeah. Remember that one guy got mad at us that we referenced Chernobyl?
I think they were Ukrainian.
Yeah.
Which, to be fair, I understand. I mean, that
Well, I
surely wasn't funny to any of them.
I get it. funny.
That
to me,
doesn't mean it wasn't well made.
I would love it if someone from Japan wrote into us. Like,
What about Chernobyl?
no, just anything.
Oh, okay. I was just gonna
Just
say,
anything.
why the hell would they
That's-
care?
oh.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know. Did we say anything about Fukushima?
I don't think we
I don't
did.
think so.
I don't listen. I got things I can say about Fukushima and Chernobyl and 3 Mile Island that I'm not going to say because that's you want to talk about outside the scope of this podcast. That's far outside the scope of this podcast.
And the last one, which is sort of more relevant toward the end of the show, November 9th, 1989, the Berlin Wall falls.
Yeah.
Which sort of signifies sort of the death of communism in a way. Of course, if you look at
some end of the Cold War.
Right, exactly. I mean, it wasn't technically the end of the USSR.
Oh, I actually got another event.
Well, yeah, but there's a reason he only stuck me to 3.
Yeah. We're
right,
only doing
fair
3
enough.
because we're not the history podcast. We're the anime history podcast.
But these are important. These are big worldwide events in many cases.
That said, I do have one comment. We have I just got to report in. Someone is listening to this live on an Android device.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Mea culpa.
So we don't know is my point.
Somebody could have like one of those things where they've tied string to a couple of cans and
Yeah.
one of those makeshift sort of deals. Anyway, those are the 3 ones I chose because Anubis basically only let me do that.
All right, let's get to talking about stuff.
So we're going to start with 1985. It was a good year.
Yep. I think we should start with
There's
just
one
the
very
big
bad thing about this year, and we'll get to it in a bit.
Okay, sure. All right, we're going to start with some TV series. I think one of the good ones to throw out here is Dirty Pair.
Yes.
Okay, I got that on my list. Not the first one I was going to say, but go ahead.
Yeah, Dirty Pair. Interestingly enough, this was a pretty famous, not just pretty famous, but pretty popular in the U.S. as far as I can remember.
Although the TV series came out way later.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that came out originally was the movie and some of the OVAs, but not the OVA series.
No, I'm talking about the TV series.
I know that, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
Yes. Okay, but
those came later.
I know that, but I'm talking about when that's how it was popular here was through those, not the TV series.
But you didn't let me finish.
Oh,
I was trying to point out that the guy who the main creator of it was inspired by it here because he was at like a wrestling event or some sort.
Okay, yeah.
And that's kind of where they got the whole idea for it, I think, or something like that. I remember reading that somewhere that they were at some sort of pro wrestling event here in the United States, and that sort of gave them the I don't know if it was the writer. I think it was. I don't know if it was the writer, producer, or something like that. But
there was those novels before the TV series.
Right. Well, yeah.
Which was
what's
actually
his name?
It was the character designer for Gundam, actually, that did the covers for those.
Yeah.
Right. But it was written by Haruka Takachiho, I believe. Yeah. And these were a series of light novels, I suppose. Is what it says anyway. And that ran for 26 episodes. You can get all pretty much your Dirty Pair needs from Nozomi, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I thought they were who put them out. I've got all of it. It's just I didn't remember if they were the ones who did or not.
Mm-hmm. The movie should come out on
I
Blu-ray,
can't see my shelf from here.
I would like it if the movie came out on like Blu-ray.
That'd be
right.
nice.
Yeah, it would indeed be nice. But a lot of good stuff that came out. It was real popular. It still is. It's one of my favorite franchises.
It got very popular here early on when it came, but like I said, when it came out here, it was only the movie and those standalone OVAs.
Right, which we'll get to some of those a little later, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
Another really good one. This one's overlooked, in my opinion. Was Blue Comet SPT Lasner.
Okay, that's another one.
This was a
Sunrise.
Sunrise, yes. And it was written by Hajime Yatate, which is a name you've probably seen before.
It's also the same director.
Since it's actually it's not a real name. It's a pseudonym, isn't it?
Right.
It's also the same director.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Excuse me.
Same director as Votom's.
Right, and like I said, it's not an actual person's name. Really, it's a pseudonym. As far as I know. And again, this is one of those. I love the fact that this one takes place in the future of when it was written. The far-flung future of 1996.
And also the Soviet Union still existed.
Of course.
Yeah, and the battle has left Earth and is now in space because of course.
Of course. We're totally in space doing stuff in 1996.
Not only that, but both of us are.
You know how underwhelming it must have been to like dream all that stuff up and then
the mid-90s comes by and like none of this is even close to being true.
Space, guys.
Again, it wasn't as big as far as I know. I don't hear people talk about Lasner a lot.
Really.
Yeah, you have to go into certain circles like the
but Kenji Sixpack doesn't talk about Lasner. I always liked it. I don't think it's ever been released here, has it?
No, it was actually supposed to be released by Bandai Entertainment.
Yeah, at some point.
Yeah. But I've only seen the OVA compilations.
Okay.
I will check it out fully someday, though.
Yeah, it's worth it. It's a good show. I mean, it really depends on how much you like this kind of stuff.
Great opening, though. Love that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Fantastic. And again, we're still dealing with big budgets at this point as far as anime goes. I mean, toward the end of this episode, foreshadowing, the bubble's going to pop.
Yeah, put it this way. They haven't started using production committees at scale yet.
No.
No, this is still the we're making the show because we're selling a product.
Yep.
That we are toys, or in this case, model kits.
And the next one I want to cover is one that VZ is going to get really geeked out about. Dankuga.
Yes, one of my favorites.
Super Beast Machine God. Gotta
love
that title.
Yes, one of my favorites. Great show.
As if you couldn't tell by that, this is Mecha.
It's actually a Super Robot show, but because it was the 80s and Super Robot was kind of a dirty word at the time.
Yeah, people didn't really market it that way.
Well, it was kind of a Super Robot, but with real robot aesthetic leanings.
Right.
So like, how can I put this? The pilot suits are very like military. The design itself, it's gray. There's a lot of like panel lines and little like warning stickers up close and all that.
What's cool about this, you can actually get this one, unlike Lasner. Discotech has it.
Well, here's the problem with that release.
Oh, there's a problem?
Well, it's because the way the show was. See, it was the TV series was like something like 35 episodes. But it's crippled by not having the OVA that immediately follows it. Came out a year later, which is like the true ending of the TV series.
Oh, okay, but you made it sound like there was actually problems with the actual disc.
No, not that I know of. But
okay. Yeah, because you made it sound like don't buy that. There's something wrong with it.
It's not like it's I think like the last episode was kind of like a regular episode, or didn't really conclude.
Okay, I see what you mean. It's one of those things where afterwards they kind of put together the actual ending.
Yeah, it's
okay. Which the next year, Requiem for Victims, the OVA comes out.
Yes, and that's where Dankuga gets its sword. One aesthetic I like about the show, which would actually kind of bore some people, and normally I would find it frustrating, but I actually think it kind of makes it cool, is there's a slow build out throughout the series. It's not like, oh, they just combine it to Dankuga first episode and all the weapons are... No, it's actually a very slow build, because the way it's like, they're vehicles, right?
Right.
Takes time. Those vehicles first have to first have to turn into their animal modes. Then those animal modes had to then turn into their individual robots.
I get what you say.
Then they have to learn to become Dagger. Yeah.
Yes. A task I'm sure that is more complicated than the Shrine of the Silver Monkey.
Yeah, that was actually one that was released in the 90s on VHS, by the way, by Central Park Media had a another like
imprint.
Yeah, called Software Sculptors, which I
remember. I remember that. I can't remember all the stuff they had, but I do remember that.
Yeah, it was basically, I think, like a sub-only line, like because the stuff like because I had a few of those tapes,
right,
before Sandy took them.
We should point out that Masame Abari actually worked on this at some point.
Yes, this was one of his early things.
Mm-hmm. And that's a name you'll see pop up here and there.
Oh yeah.
So most certainly, for one reason or another. There's a couple other OVAs that popped out. I mean, we're not going to continue a whole lot about this. It's like we had one in '87 called God Bless Dan Kuga.
Yeah, that it's basically the movie, even though it's an OVA, because it's like an 80-minute thing, and it was like even like letterbox. Is that the right word?
I think so.
Where it's like formatted like long.
Yeah.
So it has like a cinematic feel to it.
Right.
And they even went through the trouble of like redesigning Dan Cougar to look more aggressive and stylized.
Mm-hmm.
Then there was some OVAs at the end, basically where those I admit aren't that great. It kind of like, I don't want to spoil anything, but it kind of like undoes a thing from the TV series, and it's like, oh, really? And I don't know, it was kind of like a fatigue at this point, which you're going to find a lot of sequelitis and franchise fatigue in this era.
So here comes a big one. It's a real big one. Okay, Mobile Suit Zeta Gundam.
Yeah,
it's probably the most important TV series that we list here.
Yeah, I would say so. Obviously, I'm going to say so. It's my numero uno. This is first off, Tamino was depressed in this era, so it's dark as fuck.
Yeah.
Like very, very dark.
Which is ironic that not to do a correlation thing, but that this was kind of like the bubble era where everyone was like economically and thus happy, and he was like, I don't want to.
And he was Tamino.
Yeah.
Yeah. In any case, what's cool about this is it ran for 50 episodes, which is a big number.
Yep.
And none of it is filler, not even a little bit.
It's a vast departure from the original Gundam, where the original Gundam kind of kept that sort of monster of the week super robot paradigm.
This moves away from that. Something important happens in every episode. Right. Whether it be battles or it be like strategy or whatever.
Yeah. This series had Oh no, continue. I'm sorry.
Political intrigue and so forth. And of course all Gundam materials you can get from Nozomi.
Yep.
I will say this series, well, two things. One, the build up, I would have loved to have been there to see the build up to the show. Because imagine it. It's 1979, right? First Gundam, and then, got popular through the movies. The build up between the wait for that and Zeta Gundam must have been like
excruciating.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but again, you got to look at it from the purposes or through the lens of it didn't really do that well originally, and it needed reruns in the movies to really take off.
Well, I'm just saying by the time the movies came up, and there were kits that were kind of exclusive to their own, like the mobile suit variation stuff.
Yep.
But just like I imagine, like the people at the time, like when are we gonna get a new Gundam thing, like a new anime?
Yeah.
And I'm sure Tomino at the time must have been like grinning his teeth, like I don't want to make this thing.
Yeah. Maybe. I guess.
But this thing had a lot of mecha designers.
I mean,
I think this had the most mecha designers of any show.
Not only that, but a lot of this stuff isn't simple either. Like
No.
these aren't just like dunderheaded fucking designs either.
No, the transformation for Zeta is insane.
Yeah.
And that's another thing we should put up. The jump in animation quality from the first one to this one. Like, it's not even funny. Like,
Yeah, even though it's TV level budget, it's still like, definitely shows the jump of animation.
yeah,
How
because
anime stylistically changed.
and plus if you get like the new releases of it where Nozomi and their team of people have cleaned it up, it looks really, really good. It's very sharp and crisp and everything. It never feels like, and again, this is still, everything's analog and all that still, pretty much. No, the digital revolution hadn't kicked in, obviously, yet.
No,
we're still quite a while away from that.
No, in fact, we'll get to the first Gundam with CG much later.
Yes. But it's really good. If you haven't seen it yet, get off your ass.
I got one more TV series to talk about, and then this is only a thing I've seen a few episodes of. I would love to watch it all. Ninja Senshi Tobakage, which is...
I honestly have never heard of this one.
I described it to you before. This is basically a ninja aesthetic robot show.
Okay. That's probably why I wasn't very familiar with it.
Character designs by name you will know soon. You're going to hear this guy's name a lot. Toshihiro Hirano. The designs are really cool. Koichi Ohata did the designs for it. Again, as I said, ninja themed, so very Japanese aesthetic, obviously.
We should point out this one actually ran in the United States on Cartoon Network.
Yes, I wish I knew about that in the 90s. I didn't have satellite in the mid 90s.
I did. I actually had it, and it wasn't on satellite.
But the thing about the show is because I've watched the dub. The first off, the most generic name that they could have ever picked. They just call it Ninja Robots.
Well, they're just what you see is what you get.
And also, it's like how the Sailor Moon theme is the same beat as the Japanese one, but the lyrics.
Oh, they do the same thing.
Yes, it's the same.
But are they doing? Are they doing the same thing where they explain the show in the song?
A little bit, where it's like
that's a really cringy thing American opening songs do.
Yeah, it's like our hero Joe must know blah blah. Yeah, you get it.
Come on.
And it's going Ninja Robots, because and the original song.
Okay, who wrote the American version? Charlie Sheen.
Because the original song is like, how, because this is when these shows didn't use to name the robot in the show. By this time, they were thinking like we could sell the music on its own. Oh,
they actually did do that a couple times. Like Sailor Moon did that. Like they actually had a U.S. soundtrack release. I know this because I actually saw it in Best Buy years and years ago.
Yeah, but I'm talking about in Japan, like how.
Okay, I got you.
You know, like how the original. Okay, I'll do Gundam for example. Easiest example, like how they say the name Gundam in the opening.
Oh yeah.
But by Zeta, it's like
they're not doing that kind of stuff anymore.
No.
Yeah, it gives it sort of a hammy quality because. Doesn't it almost sound like it could be a Japanese game show host or something singing that?
Yeah. No,
like you could almost see him like in a blue suit, with a mic and a bow tie and all that. Yeah.
Well, again, I think it was also the separation of Real Robot versus Super Robot, and Real Robot
which really started to happen in the mid '80s. You started
Real
to see
Robot was more serious, so we got to have a real song and not
goofy. Sort of stuff.
Okay. So let's talk about movies.
I do have one more TV series to just mention.
Okay.
1985 was when Robotech came out.
Yeah. Which we've covered enough
of tumbling down.
I think we've covered enough of Robotech and Macross before to really get into it again.
Yeah, we have a whole episode dedicated to that.
I think I might have only seen Robotech like once or twice in the actual 80s, and probably like 87 or so.
Should probably keep it that way.
Yeah. Anyway, now let's move on to films.
Yes. You got one. Otherwise, I got one.
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
And this is kind of an important one
All right.
because
You first.
okay, Vampire Hunter D.
Yes.
Oh, I forgot to write that one down. Yes. Yes.
The couple of reasons this is important, at least to me. First off, it's the first anime film I ever saw.
I saw it in the 90s.
I saw it as a little kid. Actually, believe it or not, me and my brother and myself were up late one weekend or some shit, and it came on television. And obviously, we didn't know what the hell it was, and it wouldn't be till much later that I'd kind of, file down what the hell was going on with all that. But yeah, it's a good movie. It's got art designs from what's his name from Final Fantasy.
I know who you're talking about.
I can't think of his freaking name now. Boy, that's bothersome. Any case, it's your typical vampire story. Oh, this one, you gotta love the way this is described, though. It's set in the year 12,090 AD in a post-nuclear Holocaust world.
But everything looks like 1800s.
Yeah. Like,
They have lasers.
People have fucking like horse and buggies and shit. It's like, what?
But they have like lasers and cybernetic horses.
well, it's like if you set it in a post-apocalypse, you can basically just do anything. Like,
right.
most
Well, that's
people
what
do it
Turn
like with. Yeah, exactly. Most people do it like the Mad Max.
where there's
Fallout,
nothing there. It's just all desert and like broken parts and shit.
It's just a North Star boat through a skyscraper, sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But it really opens up for you to do anything. Like,
It really is, because you can like reset humanity pretty much.
exactly. You mentioned Turn A. That's one of the most creative ones, in my opinion. But like,
Which we'll get to
Vampire
that
D,
one down the line too.
That's also
gonna be
like
down the line.
that's also kind of like not to the extent of these, but Nausicaa did that too.
Yeah.
It's Yoshitaka Amano.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, is that
Like who has this now? I know somebody does.
Sentai Filmworks.
Okay,
Well, maybe
okay.
under their Made in Japan imprint, but yeah.
Okay, so there who has. I was gonna say I know it's available still. I see it occasionally.
Yeah, both ones. It's just different publishers have each.
Mhm. Again, it's worth at least checking out. It holds up pretty decently, minus the bad description I just gave.
One thing I love is the end song because it feels so different from everything else.
Yeah,
It's like
I'm not going to go through any of these, but there was a few Dr. Slump films.
Oh, all right.
I'm not going to go through those because, again, just like numerous OVAs and stuff, going through each one would just take a while, and we're already going to be not squeezed for time, but we're going to try to make it more manageable.
We're gonna try.
Okay,
Try is the optimal word here.
Okay, so I got one.
Sure.
This is something only I like.
Okay.
In fact, very few people like this, and I don't care. I adore this movie. I actually saw it in the 90s on Sci-Fi Channel, and I thought it was cool then. I don't know what people. Well, actually, there is a reason. I'll explain. Odin, Photon, Space Sailor, Starlight.
Gotta love the name.
This is a movie from 1985 done by the people that did Space Battleship Yamato.
Production was handled by Toei.
Yeah, very high looking budget. This must have been a really expensive film at the time, because even though it's like still analog to produce, there's a lot of like, I guess the word would be like special effects. Like a lot of things just glowing and light, which is actually a plot point in the story.
Yeah, I'm aware of Odin.
I think it's a really cool movie. I get the fact
you're right though. A lot of people hated it.
I feel like I've seen this before. Like not seen it, but I this looks familiar to me.
Images like around.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well. First off, probably has one of the most what the fuck endings like because it.
So basically, like your typical OVAs and movies of anime at this time.
Well, first off, it was meant to be a trilogy of movies, but it bombed in Japan, so that was the only one that made. But the reason why I say that is because it switches to live action footage of the band Loudness. They did some of the music in this.
Oh gosh, yeah, the Japanese version of Dokken, basically.
They all have 80s glam hair.
I think that might be how I'm familiar with this.
Yeah. Oh, I've told you about this. Yes. Yeah. The thing about the movie is that it's not really like, again, the characters aren't really characters. They're just, you're not watching it for characterization. You're watching it for really cool space
visual
sci-fi.
porn.
Yeah, visual porn. That's a great. But even in because the version I originally saw in the 90s was an edited version, because this is a long movie. This is almost 2.5 hours.
Yeah, I see that.
And they brought an edited version down to like an hour and a half.
Mm-hmm.
But even that I thought was kind of cool. I caught like the last half an hour or something, last 40 minutes or so. I just loved like there's like the evil supercomputer that's like,
which is a common theme in the 80s. You will see that a lot.
It's like, I'm the pinnacle of evolution, and shoots green grid lines a la Tron.
Yeah, you'll be seeing a lot of Tron references too. This was put out here by US Manga Corps.
Yeah.
Which I don't think it's still available, is it?
No.
Okay, yeah. I don't think it was ever picked up, but if somebody does, it'd almost certainly be Discotheque.
Yeah, I would love Discotheque. In fact, if they could do a cleanup of this, for like a high definition, that would look amazing, because there's a lot of detail in this that's kind of lost. Kind of like how I'm so happy that they did we'll talk about later on. All right.
I'm going to go ahead and throw out that there was a Urusei Yatsura movie here. It's the third one, called Remember My Love. Not Do You Remember Love? Don't get that confused. It was originally put out by Animego, right?
Yeah, they had all the...
Yeah, okay. This one isn't one that a lot of people talk about. Most people think about Beautiful Dreamer when they talk about the movies, probably because of Oshii being involved.
Right.
He didn't do this one, did he?
I don't think so.
No, I don't think so.
No. I know it did reasonably well at the Japanese box office, though. And if you like Urusei Yatsura movies, I'm not going to say you shouldn't watch an Urusei Yatsura movie. Basically, if you like the show, you like the franchise, it's worth looking at. And that's what I'll say with that.
I actually got another movie. I've talked about this before. It's another one that not a lot of people talk about. Dagger or Kamui.
Yeah, I was actually going to mention this one. If you
yeah, this was a really cool movie. Very long also. It's also like 2.5 hours. The first half an hour is kind of a bit of a slow burn, but after that it just gets crazy.
We should point out that this is done by Madhouse.
Oh yeah, Madhouse. It looks like a Madhouse thing.
yes, it does. The thing is about Madhouse Productions is you can almost always tell.
Yeah.
The only one I could ever see them ever getting confused with would maybe be some of Production IG stuff. Maybe.
Yeah, I could.
Yeah.
Like if you didn't know any better, you would think Ghost in the Shell is a Madhouse.
Yeah,
but it's
yeah.
So what the thing that sold me on this movie, that's like, okay, I gotta check out this movie, was I heard anime Mark Twain.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's like, okay, I gotta see this now. There's a little of everything in this. There's ninjas. There's
you covered it and sell you on that.
Yeah, cowboys, and by default, and by proxy, Indians.
Naturally.
Pirates' treasure.
It's one of those things where they kind of tried to throw everything they could in terms of like, okay, nerdy, dorky shit.
There's a freed slave that joins the. What else? Yeah, I said anime Mark Twain.
Well, we should point out that historically it's supposed to be sort of like the pre-Meiji Restoration era in Japan.
Yeah, it's what's called it's a historical fiction.
Yeah,
Right.
Would be the class.
period
It's like-
piece or whatever.
Yeah, it's like fiction, but it has historical aspects. Basically, like Forrest Gump would be kind of, you know,
Right.
a fictional character that interacts with actual people that and
Yeah.
events that existed. One thing I would like to mention before moving on is the soundtrack. It's actually kind of unique. It's a weird mix of traditional Japanese music, so a lot of like flutes and
Yeah,
the traditional guitar.
yeah, like zithers and
Yeah.
sitars and all that kind of shit.
Yeah, and because it's the 80s, 80s guitar and synth.
Of course.
Of course.
So I recommend it. Kind of interesting. Oh, also, I knew is a plot point in the movie.
Mhm.
The I knew.
Yeah. So, okay. Does anybody want to move on to OVAs, or do you got more?
I think we should move along.
Yeah.
Okay.
OVAs.
Okay. Okay, I got to throw this one out there first, just because I've mentioned it in the past, and I want to get my digs in early.
Sure.
Angel's Egg.
Oh, okay.
This was one of Mamoru Oshii's weird ass things.
Yeah.
Yes.
It features very little dialogue.
I've know about it. I've never seen it, but yeah, I've heard.
I've seen it one time. I hated it.
Oh, okay.
But I can't deny it's important. It gets brought up a lot.
Isn't
it's
it like?
It's an artsy fartsy fucking movie.
Yeah, that's what I heard. It's also I heard that the interpretation is like lost faith.
Yeah, it's one of those. It was done by Studio Dean, by the way. And it's really avant-garde. It's just very strange, and not in a good way, in my opinion.
Did you know Angel's Egg had a U.S. release, like in the 80s, I think.
Yeah, I could believe that. Does anybody have it now?
No, but here's the thing: when they got that movie here, they added live action footage for.
What was the point of that?
Oh, here it is. Yeah, Angel Eggs was released to direct-to-video on December 15, 19. Oh no. Okay. Wait. The 71 would be used for the live-action film in the aftermath, 1987.
Directed by some dude.
Yeah. Intercuts with footage from Angel Eggs with dubbed-over dialogue that does not appear in Oshii's film. Yeah.
So to make something that was pretentious and dumb to begin with, they've actually made it worse.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Quite frankly, yeah, I've seen it. I didn't like it. It's one of those. I honestly think Oshii's one of those people that's not better served left to his own devices.
Yeah, that's the way. Yeah, Oshii's a weird dude.
He really is.
Give him something to adapt, and he's cool.
Yeah, and he's awesome.
gee,
His own
just like-
devices, and it's like,
Who does that sound like, Anubis?
sounds like Yamakon, except he doesn't actually
Except Oshii is much more competent.
yeah, the Oshii actually knows what he's doing. Yamakon
Not so much.
doesn't know what he's doing.
All right.
Okay. We mentioned this one before too, so I'll bring that up too. Dream Hunter Rem.
All right. I seen that years ago, but only the first one.
Right. This is interesting because it was originally supposed to be porn.
Yeah.
It's not, but it was supposed to be at one point, or the designs I think were supposed to be at least.
We're gonna have at least one other show that's in the same vein.
Mm-hmm. I don't think anybody has this one, which is very unfortunate. It's very unfortunate. I really wish they did. I probably would own it if they did. It's enjoyable.
I do like her design though.
Yeah, she has a really nice design. I should point out that this was, I think, 3 OVAs with an extra special kind of tacked on.
Yeah.
And they tried to reboot it later, but we'll get to that when it's prominent.
Yeah.
You know, the concept of it, the whole thing is not odd based upon what it is. It's supernatural, horror, action, mystery.
Yeah, fighting in the dream.
Yeah, the name alone. But yeah, the designs do sort of look like they were probably originally supposed to be part of something from Cream Lemon. But perhaps. But I'm not sure where they were supposed to pop in with that, other than they were just supposed to be originally hentai.
Right.
Okay. So we got 3 OVAs here that I like to also discuss, which are probably on your guys' lists.
Yeah, sure.
I think the first one we should talk about is Megazone 2-3.
Yep.
Since we actually covered this on a full episode.
Did a whole episode on this one.
We did. It's awesome.
Fantastic OVA.
Yes, very much so.
One of the best of its type.
Pretty significant artistic changes throughout the 3 or 4
Yeah,
episodes.
yeah, to say the least.
Also brought over for Robotech the movie.
Yep. Another part of Robotech.
Which they said too many girls, so let's splice in footage of Southern Cross.
We should point out that this was probably influence on some other movies that actually came out that were.
There's a scene. Yeah. There's a scene literally, where they come out of the theater and it says "Streets of Fire." That's an actual movie that existed that I told you about.
Mm-hmm. We should point out these were done by AIC.
Yes.
Predominantly.
Not a good movie, by the way. Streets of Fire. I've tried watching it numerous times. It's very important for anime because it was popular in Japan, but
we should point out the differences with because this is weird because there's 3 technical OVAs of this.
Yes.
There's the first one, which is there's the first one and the second one, which 85 and 86. And there's some shifts stylistically, but they're not so insane as they will be, because the third one is split into 2.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like so the first 2 are directly in.
They tie in a lot better.
Yeah.
Whereas the third one is just kind of like, wait, what?
Well, the third one
takes place in the same world, kind of.
Well, that's probably what I've been talking about, the sort of sequelitis franchise fatigue syndrome.
That being said, you definitely should still see it.
Oh yeah, see all.
The first one's a classic.
And we should also point out that it has sex in it and not just porn. Like
it's also a plot point to the thing because it's kind of like an info dump.
Yeah, like
fast forward.
She's getting wrecked, and he's basically. I'm sorry.
It's the background scene to the info dump. So
it's just like, okay, this is where we gotta deliver a bunch of information, so let's make it interesting.
Yeah. Exactly. Also, character designs, all but one, Toshihiro Hirano.
Mm-hmm.
The character Eve was designed by Haruhiko Mikimoto of Macross fame. Also, great music.
I was going to mention that, but you beat me to it.
Sorry.
And yes, you can get this. Who has it now?
I know. Unfortunately, ADV used to have it. No one has it right now.
That's who I got it from.
I mean, there is a Blu-ray release in Japan, so they could.
I'm sure we'll get it eventually.
Yeah.
I can't see like either Sentai or Discotheque or somebody passing on this one.
No.
It would probably do well for them to acquire it and put it out. Okay. We should point out that there are a bunch of Cream Lemon. We're not going to go over all of it.
No.
I'm going to point out a couple of them. Star Trap is a good one.
Yes, Star Trap. That's pretty much Dirty Pair. The Dirty Pair you always wanted.
What you thought that name implied. Probably.
Also the one Pop Chaser, which is the one that a lot of people really like.
Yeah, that's another really popular one out of the bunch. No pop, no pun intended.
Probably has one of the best animated Yuri scene.
Yeah,
Yuri sex scenes.
But yeah, there's a lot of it, and again, we're not going to go through all of them. But Star Trap and Pop Chaser are well worth singling out.
Mm-hmm. Okay, another big one, and something I just rewatched recently. Fight Ixer 1.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yes, an excellent one. And I got this one as well.
Uh,
I love the fact that it's explained as part of a genre. It's put into Yuri. That amuses me for some reason.
there's a Blu-ray release in Japan, so this definitely needs a release.
An upgrade.
Yeah.
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 AIC did this one as well.
Yeah. AIC.
Directed and
Toshihiro-
written by Toshihiro
Harano.
Yep.
Fantastic. Just fantastic design work overall.
There
Character design.
was 3 of them. It ran between 85 and 87, one
Yes,
for each year.
And there was also a compilation of the 3.
Oh, was there?
Yes.
Yep.
It's actually on my Blu-ray, the thing that I downloaded. They came out in 87, all 3. It's basically the 3 episodes together. They change around like one part that was in 3 to the beginning to make it narrative better.
Okay.
So,
So yeah, and it's really good if you like this sort of stuff.
I love. I would have loved this if I seen it younger. Because I remember seeing it in Sam Goody, like when I was around 11, 12, like the tape for it.
Oh, interesting.
I didn't pick it up at the time, and I would have imagined, like, I don't think my brain would have handled. I mean, I just saw like the Guyver OVAs, which was like shocking enough with all the. Imagine me seeing like Yuri sex at that age.
And it's helps a body grow.
Also, what else? Yeah, so I recommend that one. Another OVA, it's classified as OVA and film, is one that's not talked about a lot, but was actually kind of a one of the earliest OVAs from this time. Leda, The Fantastic Adventures of Yoko.
I actually am not familiar with that one.
Me
All
neither.
right, this is I haven't seen it in a long time. One of the things that you know how people complain about the isekai genre.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of that going on.
Well, this is pretty much that. Like the whole ordinary, in this case, ordinary schoolgirl gets transported to a fantasy land, and she's the only one that could save.
The situation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, because it was the 80s, there's like this mecha design in it, which is really weird because it looks like something how Miyazaki would have designed.
Huh.
It has that like Nausicaa look to it. I haven't seen it in a long time, but I would probably recommend it if you.
I think Right Stuff has it.
They had the VHS they haven't done anything.
Are they still just kind of sitting on it, or
Who knows if they still have it?
Oh, okay. All right. Well, with that, we're gonna move on to 1986.
Yes.
It was not a good year if you were in anywhere near Chernobyl or in the Challenger. Okay, let's get the big one out of the way. Dragon Ball came out.
Yep.
Akira Toriyama unleashes Dragon Ball, and the world is never the same.
Yep.
We're not gonna, and obviously Funimation has it. Toei Animation was the studio. You all, come on, you know fucking Dragon Ball. Why are you listening to this podcast if you don't know about Dragon Ball?
I've only seen Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah.
Watch Dragon Ball.
Yeah, there you go. Well, the thing about this is there was a bunch of like movies and stuff too, and we're not going to go over all of those.
No.
Well, I mean, we'll mention them, but we're not going over all of them. It's there. You're probably aware of it by now. If not, I don't know what you're doing with your life, but it's there. Anyhow, we can probably point out Saint Seiya was a big deal for a lot of people.
Yes. Saint Seiya kind of started the genre of Bishonen in armor, basically. Because we're to see a couple of those that happen. I've only seen a little bit of Saint Seiya.
I know it ran on Cartoon Network for a while.
Yes, it did. With for some reason a cover of the song "And I Ran."
They for some reason they used that to promote it, didn't they?
Yes, but they used that as the theme song for that.
Did they really?
Yes, for the dubbed version.
That's weird.
ADV had the original Japanese one, because I remember how New Type USA would come with a DVD?
Yes, yes, I do.
That
I do
was one of
remember
the-
that.
That was one of the ones I saw in there.
Okay. This was a pretty good stretch because this ran for 114 episodes.
Yes, and it's still going. There's still like a new one that
Right.
came out now.
So, yeah, and I've seen a lot of that on social media. This original
Saint
run
Seiya is fucking huge in other countries.
Hang on a minute there. Slow your roll. 1986 between that and 1989 it looks like.
Yeah.
it stopped running originally on April 1st, so that probably bothered some people.
It didn't do too well when it came out here, but again, that was probably a timing thing because it came out in the 2000s.
Toei Animation did this, of course.
Mm.
And again, it ran all over the place. It ran in Canada and Australia and a bunch of other places too. And does seem to have sort of a certainly not a cult following, but like a big following in other places besides like the United States. Again, if you haven't at least seen pictures or art or something of it, I'd be surprised.
Can I go?
Sure.
Okay, because I want to talk about one of my favorite TV series from this time, Machine Robo: Revenge of Kronos.
Gotta love that name.
What a fucking fantastic show! Aesthetically has pretty much what I want. Everything is super glossy,
and it ran for a while too. It ran for 47 episodes.
Yes. The designs were what was brought over as the GoBots in the US, but this came after the GoBots cartoon in the US.
Mm-hmm.
So, and amazingly, like night and day in terms of production value. Like, not to, GoBots looked very Hanna-Barbera-ish and looked, because that's who did it. Mm-hmm. And it looked very like the old way of drawing, and this was like the hyper Machine Robo was the hyper stylizing that we would see at this time.
We should point out that they tried to put this out here originally.
Yeah,
but media did, yeah, and it just completely went off the edge of the cliff about a third of the way into it.
Yeah, what happened was it was actually licensed by accident. From what I heard.
Like, how the fuck do you accidentally license
Machine
Robo Revenge of Kronos?
They were, like, from what I heard, they were thinking of releasing it. They must have signed something probably got before it was actually signed.
I gotcha.
But I actually had those.
Yeah.
It was 3 volumes, so up to like episode 15.
Yeah, and they were subbed. It looks like it wasn't like dubbed or anything.
No.
It says on the art here it was done from the art director of Blue Seed, which is kind of interesting. Because I can look at some of the designs and I can kind of see that a little bit. Because I've actually seen Blue Seed before. I'm assuming I need to get off my butt and watch this one.
If you like that is type of robot show where it's less about, it's actually more of a super robot show.
That doesn't mean anything.
Okay. No, it's one of those also that like you're only gonna find online.
Right. Yeah, I figured that. Yeah, so don't expect you to be able to just hop and get this one.
No, unfortunately, and I don't even think Discotech would license Rescue this.
Which that's a shame.
I mean, you never know, but
I mean, if you bug them enough, they might. I guess.
Yeah.
In any case,
here is so little that
Mm-hmm. The flip of this, however, is Mobile Suit Gundam Double Zeta, or ZZ, if you will. Direct sequel to Zeta.
Yep.
It's not well liked, unfortunately.
I think it was the only people who say they haven't actually watched it say, "Oh, it's not well liked," but then you actually watch it, and it's like, you know what? This is actually decent in its own way.
I think people saw like the first couple episodes and got the wrong idea.
I think I think that, but the thing is that the parts that they say is kind of cringy aren't that cringy to me.
No, they're really not.
Yeah, okay. Let's kind of first off, it's recently been released here for the first time ever.
Yep.
You know, I mean, just a couple years ago. Tamino, of course, worked on this one, obviously. It's hard to explain because you don't want to get too much into spoilers or anything like that.
No.
But this one is certainly starts off, at least, a lot less dark than Zeta was.
Yeah.
And I think that turned some people off because they were expecting just more of that.
Doesn't actually count as anime, though. It's
not anime.
Yeah, the opening song is first off, that's an interesting piece of visual in general because it shows like the evolution or whatever.
Oh yeah.
With the monkey and everything. That was kind of interesting to say the least. It's good. I would never say it's like up there with the best of the Gundam stuff, but it's certainly worth watching. And I absolutely hate that the Zeta movies try to rub it out of existence.
Yeah.
I do not like that at all. I mean, if you don't like it as much, that's fine, but don't try to like retcon the whole thing. That's stupid. Plus, if you like Haman Karn, you really have to like this one.
Yeah.
Which, that being said, if you really like Yazan, you might not like it as much.
No.
And I'm not going to even try to pretend they didn't nerf his character.
Next.
So let's move along.
Fist of the North Star, the movie.
We're still on the.
Do we have any TV series left?
I was gonna say My Senikoku.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean Rumiko Takahashi. I mean that's I would say reasonably important. This actually ran for a while. This was 96 episodes.
Yep.
From 86 to 88, and done by Studio Dean. I don't know if anybody has it right now. Do they? I know Viz used to have it. I don't know if they still do.
Probably
but
not.
I actually have seen a little bit of it. I distinctly remember it being kind of strange in the sense that they used that Gilbert O'Sullivan song in it. I believe. Was that it? I think this was the one that had Alone Again Naturally, which is just this really fucking depressing song. That's the main thing I remember thinking was really strange about it was when somebody pointed that out. And again, I think it's this one. I know it's one of her works. I mean, if you like Ranma and things like that, I see no reason why you wouldn't at least want to give it a shot. But maybe that's just me. It's one of those things I only saw chunks of it because when I was renting it, they only had parts of it. And I just kind of had to try to figure it out for myself, and I didn't, by the way. So, anyway, we could probably move along then.
Okay, so movies. Yes. Fist of the North Star, the movie.
Dun, dun, dun. Fist Punch.
I love this movie. I'm not even a super Fist of the North Star fan, or even into the with a few sections the hyper masculine fighting thing. But I love this movie. It's kind of a retelling of the series, obviously condensed, but with very very high production values attached to it.
Toei Animation, of course.
I mean, opening scene. You know, as you said, Anubis, battleship right into a skyscraper.
Yeah, and again, one of those sort of, and again, the post-nuclear war thing.
Must have been a bad apocalypse. Through a battleship through a skyscraper. There's very few things that can do that.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, I've always preferred watching the movie than the series.
Yeah. This was actually one that was released kind of early on, in the early 90s, actually.
Which is, again, why I think some people have like I do kind of blame things like that on why people have the wrong idea about what anime usually is.
Yeah, well, again, because, at the time, they were so wanting to separate anime from cartoons.
So they largely tried to curate sort of these, like you said, more hyper masculine kind of stuff.
Yeah, hyper masculine or hyper violent, hypersexual. Because they wanted to, they so want to say, look, these are not like cartoons. These are, But the problem was, it worked. I think by doing that, it worked too well, because then people associated anime with only that.
And instead of like the kind of kaleidoscope it actually is.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong.
I mean, even up to like the whole not kid stuff, straight from Japan.
I'm not gonna lie, that always made me wince every time. Like, no matter how many times I heard it, I could just still feel I could still feel my neck go.
No, actually, the cringiest one was when they used to show a lot of anime on there, Stars Encore, and they were doing like just like an advert for their anime, and they were going like, no dancing bunnies.
What?
Like, I guess like Looney Tunes was that what they were thinking of, but it's like, I get it, but at the same time, it's like oh, so Gochi Usa doesn't count in there, I guess.
I guess there was I don't know if we're really going to get into this, because I don't really think a lot of people were big into this, but there was a sequel to Barefoot Gen.
Right.
Barefoot Gen 2. I don't think anybody really, I've never even seen it.
Me neither.
Is it any, I mean, have any of you?
Nope.
No, I haven't even seen the
Okay, so I can't even ask if it's any good.
I just know it takes place like further from the time, and that very low has changed from what I heard about it.
Okay, so if anybody out there has seen it in the listening verse and wants to kind of write in and say, "Oh, you're missing out. This is the greatest movie ever," you can do that. Until then, we're gonna move on to Dirty Pair, Project Eden.
Yeah.
Okay. This one was originally
this is what they say in the show. Yeah.
Right. And this was a Sunrise venture. It was also put out here in the early 90s by Streamline.
Yeah, that's why I said Dirty Pair got popular early on when it was released, but
and I remember both this and some of the other stuff. This isn't my favorite thing of theirs, even though it is a movie. I've always kind of put it on the low end of the totem pole with them, but maybe that's just me. I mean, there's nothing Dirty Pair I don't like. But I don't rank this up really high per se.
Right.
Little piece of history. This one, the version we got was directed by Carl Masick, of all people.
Hey.
So,
champion.
Yeah. Hey, fix Robotech.
He's dead. You can't do that.
No. Anyway, more of the same from Dirty Pair. I mean, it isn't like a complete U-turn or anything with the sort of stuff they do.
Right.
I do love the part when they get the armor.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, that's great. And I've always liked that Yuri is voiced by Wendy Lee. I always thought that fit somehow in the dub. But some people might disagree with me on that. In any case, though, and plus you got to love Safari Eyes.
Yeah. The whole soundtrack is masterful.
Dirty Pair has always... Most of these things, even if they're not the greatest, usually have killer soundtracks. There's just something about that 80s aesthetic and sense of melody that comes through in a lot of this stuff that's just truly earworm. I mean... So, yeah, it's good. If you like Dirty Pair, it's well worth seeing. Not my favorite, but it's still worth seeing, and it's easy to get because Nozomi has it.
You can watch it on YouTube. Nozomi has to put it up on YouTube.
Okay, well, you can do that if you want to sample it.
The channel is Nozomi ENT.
There you have it. There's some more we got to deal with.
There is some more. We also have a report on Barefoot Gen 2 because one of our listeners has watched it, and apparently it's very sad, potentially more depressing than the first one.
You cut out.
I said it's very sad, potentially more depressing than the first one.
Oh wow, interesting. Okay, well maybe I'll have to check it out then. Okay, moving along. Another Urusei Yatsura movie, Lum the Forever. Again, I don't really know how much I can praise Urusei Yatsura as a franchise. I mean, the point is, if you've watched the previous 3, why wouldn't you continue watching more? And unless you're one of those people that I've seen enough of it. I don't think there's anything that stands out about this one specifically. I mean, it was dubbed at one point. I think all of them were. Animego, I know, had control of all of it, right? At some point.
Oh yeah, they had it all except for Beautiful Dreamer, which was
right.
I think that was CPM at the time.
Right. That one's kind of the oddball of the bunch for numerous reasons. I would also point out that oh shit. Hang on. I lost my notes. Sorry about that. Okay, so yeah, Urusei Yatsura is good. There you go.
Okay. Moving along, another one. Classified as a movie, but it's a movie and also OVA, so it'll kind of bridge between the two. Project Echo.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm of the firm belief that Project Echo is one of those. If you don't understand it, you don't get anime.
You don't. Well, it's like part of understanding Project Echo is that it's not supposed to be understood.
Well, you know what I mean, though, right?
Actually, I do, because it's a lot of like it's a lot of like 80s reference for anime.
Yeah,
it's not even that it's a bunch of 80s references. It's just like, okay, it's about let's have a whole bunch of animators wild out on
that too,
and it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. It's not supposed to make a whole lot of sense. It's just
but the point is
really pretty crazy animation, and it's great.
Well, yeah, but the point is, if you don't like it, I mean,
well,
I don't know.
If you don't like it for a dumb reason, like, oh, I couldn't follow the story. You were trying to follow a story in Project Echo?
One thing I love is the soundtrack for it, which is great because they actually, I remember, and then on the old CPM release, but I think they carried this over onto the Discotheque release also, is they actually went out of the way to go to like Los Angeles to get these singers, non-Japanese singers, to do the music for it.
We should point out that there's a couple of interesting things even besides that, though. It was originally supposed to be part of Cream Lemon.
Yes, I was
and there actually is sort of a nod to that too, if I'm not mistaken, right? Wasn't there a reference to that in the actual Pop Chaser episode?
Well, Pop Chaser was kind of the dry run for this.
Yeah, that's what I'm.
It's the same. Yeah, it's the same director. That's why.
I picked this up. I mean, and there is an A&N like sticker or something on it, or it's not a sticker. It's one of those promotional sort of like
promotional blurbs. Yeah.
And it makes me cringe every time I see it.
Yeah, needs a Blu-ray release though.
It really does.
Yeah, it does.
It's very enjoyable. It really is just the zeitgeist of anime at the time.
Yeah, it's kind of like this is what anime was.
Wouldn't that be a fair assessment? This
totally fair.
That's sort of like this. This is just a sort of an amalgamation of all that was cool about it.
Yeah. This aesthetic, this look, these types of character designs.
Yep.
So I'm not alone in thinking that. I mean, that's what I've always thought of when I think 80s anime. This is one of the things I think of.
Another one of those things that kind of bridge between movie and OVA is something I have an affinity for, and I actually saw this one in the 90s because it ran on the Sci-Fi Channel. Golf Farce, Eternal Story. I don't know if it's pronounced Galforce or Galforce.
It's probably Gaul.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how I would look at it. Or how I would say it, just looking at it.
This is one I like. The first one just stands alone, just like how the first Project Echo. I kind of view these as like cousins or cousin franchises, even though they're not alike. No,
yeah.
But it's because they one same year, two both of their first entries are also their best efforts.
Mm-hmm.
And both will suffer franchise fatigue and sequelitis.
Well, we actually did get this. It was put out by CPM. Central Park Media. Let's see. It was done by Art Mike and AIC. Hopefully I said that.
Art Mike and AIC.
Art Mike,
yeah.
I used
to have a book. I used to have the Art Mike book.
Oh, okay, cool.
I do have the scans though. That luckily enough. Anyway, Galforce. It's an all-female cast for the protagonists.
Mm-hmm.
And Kenichi Sonata did the character designs, which you'll know soon enough. A little bit like Alien also.
Which is another movie, a Hollywood movie that does inform a lot of 80s anime.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just like just kind of like oh shit, what was I gonna say? Like Top Gun, clearly Point is certainly an influence.
Yeah, they also do the thing that in Alien where there's a character that turns out to be an android or gynoid. That's the actual technical term for a female robot.
Yeah.
Where then in one of the later sequels, it's like, I'm the creator of such and such, but I'm the actual human.
Yeah.
They did, but Alien did that, and they did that in Galforce.
Mm-hmm. One movie I want to throw in there is Laputa, Castle in the Sky.
All right.
Which is a Hayao Miyazaki film, of course. This one, obviously, so Studio Ghibli was behind the production.
The first one where Ghibli actually was Ghibli and not
exactly. This it did pretty well as far as I know. I don't think it was as popular here per se. As far as Miyazaki movies go,
it's not one that people talk about a lot.
No, it's worth seeing though. Again, both because it was sort of an earlier one and because this was before he kind of got as big as he did. I think. I mean that certainly here. I mean, didn't this win some sort of an award of some kind?
It beats me.
Wouldn't surprise me.
I thought I had that in my notes here somewhere. I wrote something. That's all right. That's bad. I wrote award of some kind, and it's just got question marks and shit. It's like I had something here probably. And obviously you can get this. Disney would have it probably, right?
Actually,
I think they have all their stuff, right?
One of those other, but now someone else has all of them.
Yeah, I think Disney relinquished all the rights.
Okay. And what, did somebody else just scoop them up, or?
Yeah.
Okay. Because last I heard, they had all the Ghibli shit. So.
So another OVA that's kind of formatted like a film that I want to talk about. One that not many people talk about, but it's something people should see, just for more 80s craziness, like just putting a whole bunch of crazy ass ideas and like just into a pot, stirring it, see what works. City or Love City. Crazy also has psychics, which is a thing that was a lot in the 80s. There's everything. There's psychics. There's a guy that looks like the Shredder. There's a robot that looks like Shockwave. There's so there's psychics, but they have like, to show their power level, very very Dragon Ball like. But instead of scouters, they have their power levels right on their forehead. But because it was the 80s, it was like the digital readout. like a digital clock readout right on their
Gotcha.
forehead for their power level. Yeah, just nuts.
So we should probably start moving toward the OVAs.
Yeah. Any other? You got one or
No.
okay?
Let's go ahead and throw this out. There was a bunch more Cream Lemon. Just
Oh,
get it
okay.
out.
Actually,
Although you do have to love the fact that there's one name, Super Dimension SF Legend RAL 2.
Yeah, that was the second one.
Mamu Strikes Back. Gee, can you figure out what that's a reference to? Anybody?
Mhm.
No.
I love the one with the what is it? The lesbian Nazis. That was
You got to be more specific than that. You got to point out which one that's from.
whatever one was from '86. That shit.
They're all from '86.
I know, but I gotta look from the name now.
That was kind of the point there. Yeah, I'm except for a couple here and there, I can't tell you which ones are which by name. Well, while you're doing that,
hold on. Nihilist Scramble. That's it. Yeah, that's the one I remember.
I want to point out one, and this one's fun for me for a reason I'll point at in a minute. Was Outlanders.
Oh, right, yeah.
Okay.
1986.
Yeah, it's a one shot, I believe. I don't think it was ever really. Yeah, it was
No,
just a one
it's
shot.
a one shot. It's a one shot.
Yeah, and it was originally put out by Central Park Media. The studio that did it was AIC and Tatsunoko, it looks like. What's interesting about this one, outside of the way, first off, the main character is strangely attractive in this sort of almost high fantasy kind of way. Anyway, it's sci-fi. It's, again, just one shot. It doesn't try to go too deep into explanations or any of that crap. Again, that's
and the main character actually gets laid in the end.
Yeah. Which I should point out that the creator of it, the original artist, actually did porn of it too. Like their own doujin of it, basically. Smut. And I know because I have it. And John A sold it to me. And I bought it more than anything, I bought it as a curiosity. You know,
Right.
It's a great end theme.
Oh yeah, Starry Eyes. Yes. That was, again, that's the whole 80s for you. It's worth seeing. I know somebody has it now. I obviously
No,
didn't see it.
that was the last one that had it.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So I must have acquired it basically before it, went poof.
Yeah. Another thing someone needs to license rescue. And one of my favorites of all time, I don't care what anyone says, MD Geist.
Yeah. How do we approach MD Geist in this situation, Anubis?
Oh, we did talk about it partly for a whole episode. Because we
That's
did
true.
a whole on violent 80s and 90s OVAs.
Right, we did. The thing about MD Geist is when it came out, it was kind of reviled here.
No. See, when it came out, it became popular. Then it got reviled. Then it got a renaissance.
Wait a minute, I'm confused here. Because as far as I can remember, it was just generally considered like low grade sort of.
But MD Geist was popular here. It sold well enough that the sequel got financed.
Mm-hmm. That much I did know.
And there was even a comic put out for it here.
Mm-hmm.
And the Geist was far more popular here than it was even in Japan, which was for the obvious reason of it came out the right time here, the early 90s.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it was licensed by US Manga Corps.
Yes, Central Park Media. I love it. I don't care what anyone says. I acknowledge the faults that it has.
Oh, sure. And the thing is I have it as part of that collection.
Yes. What you should do is watch the commentary track.
It does have one. I know that.
It's an amazing commentary track. You learn so much about Koichi Ohata's what he was thinking at the time, and like just.
We should point out that there's a director's cut of it as well.
Well, yeah, that's the one that was released on DVD. Unfortunately, I actually prefer the original '86 one.
Yeah, that didn't have that. That came out. Yeah, and like you said, we're not going to probably bring this up when we get into the '90s, but yeah, a sequel was created there.
I always loved the fight between MD Geist and the robot Final Terminator, or Final Striker, actually, is what it was called.
Mm-hmm.
Just such a weird, just such a like ordinate, crazy design, and yeah, Koichi Ohata is kind of a man of mecha designing stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where if you don't like things that are just hyperkinetic and things die and explode and shit just because, you probably won't enjoy it as much as people like us who do.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's definitely a time capsule of
right. Like this would not be made now.
No.
Like, even conceptually, it just wouldn't probably be something that anybody would mess with. You used to be able to find it in any bargain bin.
No, the last one that had it actually was, believe it or not, ADV.
Mm-hmm. And like I said, I got it from the collection that has the other stuff.
Yes. Someone needs to license rescue.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if a remaster would help anything, or even a.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you. I don't know if that would work, but let's go. Speaking of hyper violent OVAs, the next one I'm going to talk about is Violence Jack.
Yes.
This is a notorious one. For numerous reasons. One, the name is not a joke. It
lives up to its name.
Yes, to say the least.
Although the first entry, which is this one, is kind of the least I don't know, the least punishing of the three.
We should point out that this is one of Go Nagai's diabolical creations.
Yeah.
Yes. There was 3 of them, if I'm not mistaken, as far as the OVAs go. And they're all, and Discotech actually put these out, so you can get them pretty easily. And well worth doing so if you like this sort of thing, because I mean, there's not really a whole lot released in a similar time frame that can really compete as far as pure gritty, gory, nasty shit goes.
Yeah, well, that's what you're going to see about this era onward, is just the hyper violence is going to be cranked up because, well, they could get away with it
because the OVA let them do so. Which, they eventually would kind of tone that down, even because let's think about it. When OVAs come out now, violence isn't usually the thing. It's smut.
Yeah.
More so these days than hyper violence most of the time.
Yeah, I mean that just that aesthetic has kind of died down, which is why I feel like, again, if someone was in charge, if everyone was in of knowing what they were doing at this moment, Netflix could be the new OVA.
Arbiter of bringing it kind of back.
Yeah, as basically a thing to publish unrated content. That's why I say that.
I want to point out that each of these 3 came out kind of differently. Like this one, the first one 86, the next one came out 88, and it finished up in 1990.
Yeah.
Again, to save us from having to go over it again and again as we progress kind of through this stuff. It's certainly a must-see if you like what we're talking about here. And if you like our show, you probably do. Hopefully. Very good. And again, until recently, it was sort of in limbo. So pick it up.
Another hyper violent one. And kind of an important, but in a different way, is Guyver. Actually, the Out of Control moniker was when it was released here, but yeah, Guyver. It was basically, they say film, but it was a one shot.
Mm-hmm.
This was before the other guy that we'll talk about. This is just the one shot. And the thing about this is the manga at the point was only a year old.
Right.
So there was very little to go on to use. So this is kind of like almost like the beta.
Yeah, the testing grounds.
Yeah, it's like it's like 45 minutes, 50 minutes.
We should also point out that they made some live action movies based on this franchise.
Yes.
I don't know if they're any good.
I only recommend this one if you've seen the other Guyver stuff, the other Guyver OVAs, as a sort of it's basically a curiosity piece at this point.
Okay.
It's kind of interesting in its own way. Guyver's not as detailed.
Right.
Like, the part on the design that has like all the little muscle.
Mm-hmm.
They kind of, except for like close-ups, they kind of just made that black.
Okay.
To make it more animated better.
Right.
During the fight scenes. They cut out the brother of the girl, Mizuki. But the thing about the character designs is they're not appropriate for this material, and the reason why I say that is they're too like cutesy looking, or they look more like Rumiko Takaya or something more from like a love comedy type of thing.
Right.
They don't look like a gritty violence thing, which is when we talk about later on.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I want to point something out that's again, it's kind of hard to talk about this because of the way they were released, but Armored Trooper Votoms basically continues to put out OVAs at this point.
Yep.
Right. Yeah.
And again, we're not going over all of them. There's too many, and they're holy shit. It would be complicated to even talk about them the way they're laid out, as far as I'm concerned.
Right.
But this one was there was two. Yeah, no, there were one of them that came. There was only one. It was called Big Battle or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, the way they did OVAs, they just sort of like pop them out every once in a while,
right?
With seemingly no rhyme or reason to how.
Yeah.
And you'll see that's a thing with, like you said, sequelitis almost in a way.
I got a OVA that's also a hentai here.
I was going to bring it, so go ahead.
One of my favorites, actually. I recommend this highly. Although maybe not so much for hentai in the actual definition of hentai. not hentai the way we use the word hentai here to mean porn.
Yeah.
Legend of Leon Flair.
Yep.
Really great. It kind of reminds me of a JRPG.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. And this was released originally here by ADV's porn imprint Soft Cell.
Yeah, and then re-released on there. They tried to bring it back on the thing called Happy Carrot. So
yeah, that's right. I forgot about that.
I love the villain design. I love the bad guy design.
Mm-hmm.
Very much anime villain number 1, like anime overlord. But because it's hentai, you know what's gonna happen.
Where that's going.
Oh,
yeah.
Listen, he's pretty much having sex with someone in the beginning, right? And then you see like her get just teared apart, like it's like,
yeah,
okay, that went well. Yeah. People talk about anime being misogynistic today.
Yeah. Well, different time.
Yeah. Okay.
So we want to move on to 87? Or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
here's the dealio.
Hmm?
We are at 2 hours. We're well past 2 hours, and we're only halfway through the later 80s. So there's some real-time podcast planning, because we still have the email. Do you guys want to continue on the rest of the 80s? Because I know there's a whole bunch of stuff that needs to be mentioned in the latter part of the 80s here. You guys want to do that next episode?
I think we should save it for the next episode. No offense.
Because we're well past 2 hours.
Okay.
Unless you want to do 87 and then cut it off to 88.
That's up to you.
I think we'll save the rest for the next episode. Get to this email, and then we'll be all set.
Okay.
Okay. So with that sort of real life,
Again, real time podcast planning, because we're at 2 hours, and
that's
I know
fine.
We're not gonna get the rest of this done in the next 45 minutes. There's no way.
No, that's true. So
Look at this crazy list I have. Look, it's like
Yeah, exactly. We haven't mentioned we ain't mentioned Bubblegum Crisis yet. We still
or
haven't
any of that
mentioned-
sort of stuff. So
yeah, exactly. All there's a whole bunch of stuff that. Again, we still
okay,
haven't
so
mentioned.
what you're seeing is real time realization that fuck, this is still too long.
Yeah, exactly. Dominion Tank Police, Gunbuster, Char's Counterattack, 0080.
80s Project Zeremeyer.
Yep.
So yeah. So I guess we're going to have to unfortunately make this a two-parter.
We're making the second of the two-parters into
A two-parter.
We're
Yeah.
doing we're doing real-time Megazone 2-3, where the last one is the last part.
That
is
is
a two-parter.
that is a fan fucking tastic drawback or callback.
All right.
That is
So-
magnificent.
That said, yes, we do have mail.
You got mail!
This one's coming in from Jekyll Geek. Dear NTR guys, I just finished listening to episode 100 and heard Noops's complaint about anime ADD seasonal problem. In the effort to restart my blog and use my blogging and YouTube powers for good and not evil, I've decided to look into lesser known and older anime shows. I'll be interested in hearing what anime shows you would like me to look into.
Any of the stuff we've been talking about is good.
Yeah.
A lot of this 80s stuff is
Except for Angel's Egg. Might want to stay away from that.
Yeah. The thing is, what would be if he had like a particular like tastes, something to like guide, because I could pretty much say anything. But if I had a particular guide, but yeah, anything like that we've been talking about so far has been good.
I mean, like if you like mecha, the 80s are full of so much stuff it's not even funny. I mean, if you like more,
but there's a lot of sexy stuff too.
Yeah. I mean, if that's your thing, there's plenty of stuff. Or if you're just more like adventurous stuff, even. I mean, there's stuff like Dream Hunter, Rem, or Outlanders, and
also like just stuff that's like kind of like could have only come from that time and place. Like
so yeah, MD Geist.
Yeah. Oh.
Violence Jack. I should point out that Violence Jack specifically, since that was mentioned not that long ago, was the only title I've ever seen made somebody throw up. So if that's not a fucking like big thumbs up to check it out, I don't know what is.
Had it been that second episode.
I know exactly where you're going with that. Yeah. So, and again, that's the only time I've ever encountered that. So that should be fun. Again, it really would help if we knew his taste a little more.
Yeah.
I'll just list off a few that I don't hear a lot. A few great anime that I don't hear a lot of people talking about. Going down the list, Bento, that's one. Okay, there was this show. It's an OVA.
Yeah.
It was called, Japanese is Denpateki no Kanojo. It's transliterated as electromagnetic girlfriend. I'm the only one who I've ever seen talk about that. That's a great OVA. That should be checked out.
I've heard. That sounds familiar.
Let's see here. Depending on how you would acquire this, any excuse to watch Heavy Metal Elgime.
Yep. Gunslinger Girl, I don't hear a lot of people talk about anymore.
I got a couple that people should talk about that they don't. Kanagi, Crazy Shrine Maidens.
Yep.
Another one is Kanamemo.
Yep.
Oh, gee, another one that I loved this when it came out, and nobody's talking about. Nobody has even released it. Girlfriend Beta.
Yep.
Talked about Girlfriend Beta.
Magical Shopping Arcade of Benabashi.
Oh yeah.
Mahoromatic.
We didn't get to really talk about this. We will next time. Kimagure Orange Road.
Yep.
Right.
Robotics notes. I don't hear a lot of people talk about robotics notes anymore, and it's disappointing because the show was amazing.
Let's see.
Battle Fairy Yukikaze is another one I recommend.
Let's see.
Really, that's just a few, just to name a few, just to.
Oh, I got one more
to give Jekyll Geek a good starting point.
I got one more, even though I'll mention in the next show. Hades Project Zermeyer.
There we go.
There you go. 4 episodes.
Foreshadowing.
Yeah.
Let's see. And again, it really just depends on how you're going to acquire stuff. Some of these things probably aren't available. You'd have to engage in a little activities, for lack of a better word, to acquire them.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. Ice City. That's another crazy shit. All right. It'll cost an hour of your time. Insane craziness. There you go. All right, and I think that's that should cover it.
Yeah, that should give Jekyll Geek a good starting point.
Yeah.
Get back to us and
get back to us on this, because I would like to, if you could maybe be a little more specific, or if you liked what we suggested or don't like what we suggested.
Yeah, that's all good. And again, worst comes to worst, you could always go to the animated classics of Japanese literature.
Oh, I watched one of those. The one that was written by the guy Shintaro, the guy that was the governor of Tokyo.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The one who said, people have fucking
otaku.
Default or defective DNA or whatever.
Yeah, corrupt DNA.
Corrupt DNA. That was it.
Yep. They animated one of the things. It was animated in the 80s, but he wrote it in the 50s. And it's pretty much what you would think from him.
Okay.
Anyway, that is the show.
Yeah. We will continue this. We promise.
To be continued.
Yes.
Next time.
Dun, dun, dun. I'll get you, gadget.
Website's ntrradio.net. Get our shirt at yashike.moe/store.
You might want to invest in the hoodie. It's getting cold in a lot of places.
What's an NTR radio? Walk around that. What's an NTR radio? It's the best podcast you never heard.
It's the realest podcast.
Tell your friends. Tell your enemies. Scare your mother.
Oh, that'd be like a great commercial.
BZ has a book. It's called Big Book of Idols. You can find it at thebigbookofIdols.com.
Yes.
My stuff is at iashike.moe. A lot of big things happening at iashike.moe in 2019. So definitely keep an eye on that. I also run Shinikiba at shinikiba.moe, where you can get your half-naked anime girl figures. Good friend of mine, the Geeky Panda, he's at thegeekypanda.net. NTR Radio is all over the internet. We're up on iTunes and other podcast catchers. You can get at us there, leave a comment, rate the podcast, and so on and so forth. On Twitter, I am Time Forcer Nubis. I'm TE Nubis. VZ is VZMK2. KGods is immortal_KGods. The show is NTR_radio. Email address, ntrradio@gmail.com. I'm Time Forcer Nubis.
I'm KGods.
I'm VZ Mark II.
And even though we pull a Megazone 2-3 every time we say it, this is NTR Radio.